Hey guys, before we get started, I just want to shout out my podcast sponsors, Mediums Collective. Mediums Collective is a Seattle-based streetwear brand, and they're huge into community building. They've actually been throwing events with local artists lately, and they've even been on the NAST podcast. And if you go on their website, you can find premium quality shirts, hoodies, joggers. I'm actually currently wearing one of their shirts right now, their Hustle shirt. You can find this and more on their website, mediumscollective.com, or you can reach out to them on all social medias, Mediums Collective. And right now, they're running a promo offer with the NAST podcast. It's 20% off all clothing. If you go on their website, the promo code is NAST podcast. Now let's get into the show. Today, my guest is a music teacher. He's an artist, and he's also a producer. He has produced for quite a few previous podcast guests on the podcast. And actually, I learned about you through Anna Thompson.
Really?
Yeah.
Shout out Anna.
Isn't it weird, like, the new age people are finding you?
I know. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. It's crazy. Old man Jake.
Old man Jake. Why do you just say Jake Crocker? Why isn't it something crazy?
I don't know, man. I for a long time, like, that was a conversation. Like, okay, if you want to be your own artist, like, what's your name going to be? Like, what's your thing going to be? And I always was like, I just want to be me. I just want to be my name, just myself. A lot of that is like accountability too. Like I always wanted to make, I strive to make music that means something to me,
right.
and it definitely holds you accountable having your own government name on your artist project, because you just gotta hold yourself accountable. So I mean that's a big reason, but I just always felt like me, so I never really felt like I needed to be an acronym or something different. I don't know.
What about like signatures? Did you just
like signing a
is it just signing your own?
Yeah, I mean I'm not worried about anybody like taking my signature and putting it on checks or anything. So yeah, just my normal one. Okay. You can take that, put it on a check, and you can fraud me all day long, man.
Yeah, very nice. I recently learned that you could put different signatures on different things.
Maybe that's what this podcast should be about.
Signatures?
No, forgery.
Forgery. That's a good one. Have you ever forged anything?
Yeah, all the time.
Really?
No, not really. I mean, my mom's signature and shit, I got pretty good at that. I got pretty good at my dad's signature.
Oh, nice.
It's so good that at some point he was like, yo, can you sign this thing for me? I'm like, bet, no problem.
Damn.
So,
I should have been smarter than that. When I was like in elementary school, I want to pull these up just.
What? What are you talking about? Those are those prescription?
Yeah, they actually are.
Oh,
but
wow. Now you're blind. You can't even see.
I actually do need glasses.
The only glasses you have are that?
The doctor said it works. I got them from Costco,
It's got foil in the hood so aliens can't get shit.
Yeah.
I like it, man.
So when I was like in elementary school, I used to get, you probably don't know what an FYI. Do you know what an FYI is?
Like for your information?
Yeah, there's like it's
I
like
do.
I do. So when I was in elementary school, the FYIs were like, if you did something fucked up, and I don't know what fucked up is for an elementary school kid, but like if you did something wrong in school, they'd write you an FYI and send them to your teacher.
I thought you were just asking me like, do you know what FYI means? I was like, yeah, I do.
I'm hip. I'm cool.
No, we had what did we have? Referrals.
Oh yeah. So it's similar.
Yeah,
it's similar to a referral.
I got shit like that.
Yeah. So like instead of trying to like forge like a parent's signature, I used to throw them away like in the classroom garbage can. And then, like, the teachers would find it. So instead of just trying to forge it,
they caught you trying to forge it?
They caught me throwing it away without giving
like your practice?
No, just they would give you a FYI to give to your parents. And I would just throw it in the trash.
They're like, what the fuck? Oh, my God. Dude, hey, mischief.
And that's how you get 2 FYIs.
Yeah, and you got to bring both home to mom. It's
yeah.
Like, dude. I
used to talk a lot in school. That's why I do the podcast.
Makes sense. You should send this to your teacher that was like, you talk way too much. Be like, yeah, well, I fucking ended up being a podcast host, so.
Yeah, fuck it, Yeah. You're a teacher now. What's that?
Well, I used to be a teacher, actually.
Not anymore?
Yeah, not anymore. No, I started I always wanted to, so I went to O'Day High School. We didn't have shit for a music program. Like we didn't have much. We had like a choir that was just getting started and whatnot. And not many schools, not many schools did.
Mm-hmm.
But at that time, I was like getting so heavily into music, and in the back of my head, I was like, I really wish, because I love O'Day. I love my school. That, you know, my high school gave me a fucking great experience. But
Yeah.
I was like, I wish that was there. I wish there was more of a music, um, uh, some type of program, anything technologically like forward thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to make that someday when I got to a point where I could actually facilitate that whole situation. And it all started actually with my first teaching gig, which was at my old middle school, where I was St. Joe's. I went there, and then they approached me and were like, "Hey, we see what you're doing. Like, it's really cool, and we have this thing called Exploratory," which I went to St. Joe's, so I was in Exploratory. I was in like band. And I was in choir. We had like, you know, my mom's the art teacher there, so like we had art and different shit like that, but you know, nothing music production oriented. So they approached me with that whole idea. So I wrote a whole curriculum for that and brought that into the school of like how to teach a kid how to produce a song in 10 weeks basically.
Yeah.
You know, and just all the basics of that. So I started a program teaching kids Ableton there, and then that transitioned to me being brought into this foundation called Foundry 10, who like funds educational programs for schools and whatnot. And so I started teaching at Nova High School as well, alternative school up right next to Garfield. Awesome experience there. Built out the program a bit more, and then eventually I expressed interest to Foundry 10. I was like, hey, I really want to expand into my old high school and start a program there, and I started that. And those programs are rolling, and you know, those St. Joe's is rolling still, and O'Day is rolling still, and I had to just, you know, put that stuff aside as I was getting busier and busier with music stuff. But
wow.
Yeah.
Was that within the past year or so? Or?
It was. I mean, well, it was kind of like obviously COVID kind of changed everything school wise, and throughout 2020, I mean, I taught all online, and then 2021, the whole Dempsey thing happened, and then Sony happened, and then my plate got more and more full, and yeah, I wanted those programs to stay alive, but I couldn't necessarily be there every single day. So you know, found adequate people to run those programs, and just continue pushing. You know.
So people who don't know, Dempsey Hope is a Seattle artist. That would you say you're like his main producer?
Yeah, well, I mean, Demps, I found. Well, we kind of found each other. He found me. I found him in a weird way. Actually, your previous guest, Vinny, is probably the reason that Dempsey and I are really working today, because Demps reached out to me at a real young age. You know, he's 17, and at that time, you know, I was established enough in this industry that, you know, people knew who I was or whatever, and I'd made music and with a lot of people in the city. And so he reached out and was like, "Hey, I want to make music. I don't have anything, like, you know what that means. It's like I don't have fucking anything. I don't know what my brand is. I'm a kid with a great voice, and I want to make music, type of thing." And I was like, okay, like, let's see what that is. And Vinny was on it. I asked Vinny because they were friends and they knew each other, and I was like, "Who's this Dempsey kid? Like, what's up?" And he was like, "I think he's worth your time. You should definitely kick it." So we started kicking it. We started just making little ideas here and there. I would like call him. I'd have like an hour or two in between sessions. I'd be like, "How bad does he want it?" I'd be like, "Yeah, I got an hour and a half free. You want to come through?" And he'd like show up in his beater ass little green Civic that he had, a little Honda thing. And so he'd roll up, and I started doing what I do, which is artist development, and that's what I love doing, is taking an artist from a point of where they don't necessarily know what their sound is, they don't know what they really want to say, and it's my job to extract that and try and make them the artist they've always wanted to be. You know what I mean? That's what brings me joy. So.
And it probably took you years of finding yourself first. Before
I mean, I started at such a young age. I had to find myself in a way, but I also found myself through producing for all these different artists and stuff, because by landing in the hip hop industry at a young age, I learned that side of the industry, and then that landed me in rooms with executives in New York by the time I was 17, and like, you know, I was shaking hands of these names that like. Of books I've read, of like, you know, or Jay-Z lyrics, and I'm shaking this guy's hand, and like, what? It doesn't make sense, you know. So I at a young age, I learned that side of the industry, and learned a lot through that. Learned a lot about myself in that side. But then I also, you know, didn't want to necessarily get stuck in just one genre lane, because I've always had interest in all these different genres and sounds and whatnot. So that's when I started kind of exploring the pop thing a little bit.
And all your successes come from just working with like Seattle artists?
No, definitely not just working with Seattle artists. I think I've definitely learned the most about myself as an artist working with people here, and learning how like this environment makes your music just a little bit different than everybody else in New York or LA or wherever you are. And Seattle's always beat to a little bit of a different drum, and I just wanted to be a part of that as a kid, and so once I got the chance to kind of like hop into the industry, it just, I don't know, it made sense to work with Seattle artists. It made sense to explore what's in my backyard instead of just what's on the top 40 or who's in LA and who I need to listen to and who I need to emulate. Like, let me look at the people that I listened to growing up and see how that opens my mind. And now I'm just at this point where I'm doing this for a living. I do this full time, and it's like I want to start opening those doors for other people when that time really comes and stuff. So it's it's a weird time. It's I'm young, but I've been in this for a very long time. So it's like it's interesting watching like the local thing versus like being in the major side of the industry and talks with labels and all this different shit. But it's like, I don't know, man, this is my home, and I'm always gonna like prioritize like I want to hear what people here have to say.
Right.
Yeah.
So what is this drum? What is this different drum beat that Seattle has going on?
I mean, it's, at least I think it's evident. Like, listen to old Seattle music, or listen to new Seattle music, even in different ways. Like, people have a different way of saying things. People have a different, like, the beat selection, the ideas, the samples that people end up finding. You know, it's all different. It's not necessarily. It's not the same industry that you have down in LA, and I've spent a good amount of time down there now, so I can see the difference there, and I know what people say when I say I'm from somewhere else but LA. I'm like, I hop on a Zoom session or something with an artist, and they're in LA. They're like, "Oh, where are you at?" And I'm like, "I'm in Seattle actually," and they're like, "Oh, no way! Like, my cousin lives up there. Man, I've always wanted to go up there. It's so beautiful," but whatever. But it's like it brings this different element to the table by being from somewhere else,
Yeah.
And I just make different music when it's raining than when it's 80 degrees outside. So.
Yeah. Is it more? I feel like your music's a little bit more up. You're in pop, so it's kind of like upbeat, right? When you say.
Oh man, I mean, I don't know. The music I started making early on was very dark. You know, like really dark on the hip hop shit that I got into, and the people I was working with. It was like there's a lot of darker shit, a lot of darker topics, like really dark shit, and so I don't know. I definitely wouldn't say like things are this or things are that. Like, I'm just all over the fucking map, man. I'm just making whatever I feel like making in the moment. And
right.
If that's a happy song, it's a happy song. If that's some depressing ass shit, then that's some depressing ass shit.
Yeah. Well, when you first started in your career, I feel like you credited a lot of your success to working with like Raz Simone.
Mm-hmm.
Over the past few years with everything that's gone on with him. I would like to hear like your opinions on and feelings towards any of that.
Man, him and I started working together when I was 14 years old. I was like 14, 15 and stuff. So, I appreciate all the opportunities that I got through that and everything that I learned through that whole situation. I parted ways fairly early there. Once I wanted to go in a different direction, and that's really all that was for me. And being a young kid, I was able to just focus on the music and just be a part of that, because that's all I wanted to do. And that's the whole reason I stayed out of trouble in high school, is because I just did music, So once I was rolling around with people, I didn't really pay attention to the fuck else was going on. I wanted to do what I wanted to do, and that was make good records and learn through that, And so, yeah, I mean, we don't talk much.
Yeah. People grow, right?
Yeah, people grow, and that's what happens. But end of the day, man, I'm thankful for all those experiences and everything I learned from that, because, I learned a whole fucking lot.
Yeah.
A whole lot. And a lot of that translates to what I'm able to help other people with and help these younger artists with, and kind of learn from my own mistakes and learn from others too. So, yeah.
So when you first started, it was definitely you reaching out to people. When did you see that switch where people started reaching out to you?
Interesting. I mean, honestly, it's tough, because like there's the switch of like Seattle people reach out to you, and then there's the switch of like the floodgates open, and like
yeah.
everyone the internet reaches out to you. So I think like Seattle started kind of like people around Seattle started understanding what I was doing after I kind of separated from that Raz stuff, and then I was working a lot with Sam and making a whole bunch of different flavors on that side of the world, and then I started getting into the pop stuff, and I mean, there's so many different artists that I've had the chance to be in the studio with that have all broadened my horizon with regards to like genre and stuff. But yeah, I don't know, man. Probably around that Sam stage, you know. Once when we had that Friends Funkin' Liquor went like number 2 on iTunes on the hip hop charts, and that was like a huge moment for me, just in general, of like, holy shit, you know. That was that moment I was like, man, this shit like really gets out there outside of my hometown and whatnot. But I think after like the whole TikTok thing happened with Dempsey, and he popped off there and then ended up signing his deal. Then the outside world kind of started saying like, oh wow, like I really like that sound. I found it here and I really want to be a part of it. Or I'd love to work with you because I've listened to this music and I'm from wherever, you know. And I'm working with artists from all over the world now. So it's crazy to watch what the internet can do, you know, and the doors that it can open. So
Are you the one? When you like make a song with an artist, who does most of the marketing? Are you like?
Oh, I hate touching. I mean, it depends on what it is. I mean, a lot of the time, I don't really care to be involved in the marketing or whatnot. I'm there to extract a really good song from an artist. You know, like if you come to me and you're like, yo, typically you're coming to me to create something, right? You know, we're gonna sit down and talk and eat food and like just fucking learn about each other and then write a great song. You know, I mean, that's what it's all about. Or a lot of times artists will come to me with like a song that they've written, they just don't know what to do with it next, and it's my job to kind of take this story or this whatever it is and accurately create a bedding for that. You know, like what does that need? So that's why, I mean, I love creating over acapellas and shit like that, because it's like there's a story there and you're just kind of you're helping that story tell itself in a way. Yeah.
Well, you're well versed in like hip hop and pop. Like what makes a hit pop song and what makes a hit for a hip hop song?
No fucking clue.
Really?
No clue. I don't know. I just like no. I mean, like with the whole like hit thing. I mean, I don't really think I can speak on that unless I've fucking had one. So until I have that hit, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, well, I think a hit is this and this. Like, dude, I through the years and like through especially recently, like seeing how music is changing so much. Like, I don't know if anybody knows what the definition of like a hit really, or not the definition, but like how to create a hit automatically. There's artists that like, yeah, you put their name on it and it's inevitably going to do well. But when we talk about like sonics of like what people like and stuff, like there's a lot of ways to mathematically look at like, okay, this structure is going to dictate that people are going to stream it more and it's going to do. I hate that shit so much. I just really do. So I try and wash that out of my head as much as I can. But it's hard when like that's what people are expecting or hoping for every time. Right. It's like, I want to hit. But I think the best songs come from just genuinely being in the moment. And I think I might butcher this, but I was in a session with this awesome producer writer named Joe Janiak, and he was talking to Demps and I actually about that topic, and he said, oh man, the direct quote, but he has this like very suave British accent, and he said it and I was just like, dude, that was the coolest shit you ever said. But basically he was saying like the expectation ruins what you're creating.
Right.
When the second you create an expectation for whatever it is, that ruins that creative process that you're currently in. You know what I mean? And it's like those conversations can happen after that creation has been there. But if we're sitting in a session and then all of a sudden we put an expectation on this record to do this certain thing, if it doesn't, it's a failure. you know? So I'm trying to really look at like every creation, everything that we make, whether it's like one little 8-bar loop or whatever to a full-blown 5-minute song, ballad or whatever. Like they're all individually necessary for their own reasons, but like it's not up to me to decide like what it's going to do. You know, there's other people that do that stuff.
Yeah.
And like that can crunch the numbers and figure out what ads are going to hit the best in what areas and all that shit. And that stuff doesn't make me tick. What makes me tick is creating that product, you know?
I wonder if because you're a producer, you might not have to worry about hit as much. Like either way, you can be as creative as you want because you're getting paid during that session. And an artist might have to worry more about, I'm working with this producer, but is it going to be a hit so I can get paid, you know?
Yeah, in a way, I guess. Well, there's definitely like the aspect of like, if the artist, who's the artist working for? Are they working for themselves or are they working for a label? You know what I mean? Like, are they working for their management? So a lot of times artists don't know what the fuck they want. And that's somewhat troublesome in a way because you have other people, and unless you've surrounded yourself with people who really give a shit about you, you know, your future and your ideas are up to somebody else. So being able to kind of hear an artist speak their own ideas is really helpful in that sense too, because like I know I'm creating what they want to create. I'm not just sitting here in a session to like, let's just write a fucking hit. Like, no, each artist that comes to me is like, they're all capable of hits in their own ways. But like, if I take this template of like everybody else's hits or whatever and then like put it on this artist, it's not guaranteed to fucking fit, you know? So I try and go into each session and work with all these different artists individually, and that's why I like working with so many artists. Is it allows me to kind of flex all the different muscles that I want to, and to be able to be a part of these different genres, but also not necessarily have to worry about like, okay, is this gonna chart? Is this gonna do this? Like, I'm sure I can almost guarantee you if we had, you know, Louis Bell or Benny Blanco sitting right here who have endless amounts of platinum records, they'd probably tell you a fairly similar thing. Have
you seen Dave?
I have. I haven't finished the second season. I'm in the middle of it. I'm watching it with my dad right now. It's fucking hilarious.
I completely think about Benny Blanco so differently after they had that episode.
Totally, bro. Yeah, the peanut butter.
If you haven't seen Dave, watch it, everyone. It's on Hulu.
Unless you don't like intense comedy.
Yeah.
It's fucking good, man. But no, seriously, it's like Benny Blanco's like an extreme example of it, you know, because like he just lives and breathes that, you know. But I try to bring that into my own life of like, dude, I just want to create as much as I try and block out like, okay, is this gonna pay for my oil to change my car? Is this gonna fucking give me enough money to put some whatever, like put some gas in my car? I don't know. But if I put an expectation on it, like I'm rooting that process, you know. So it's like I guess that would be my advice to younger artists coming into it, is like, try not to create an expectation for it. Just create whatever you want to create, put it out into the world, and whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen. As long as there's adequate people pushing it and you know, getting it out so other people can hear it. I can't dictate what your ears are gonna hear after I create a song.
Yeah,
it might be the best thing in the world to me, but like a lot of times my favorite songs aren't the ones that do the best, but it's like a song that I didn't think was gonna do well. I mean, you hear that all the time. It's true. So
what attracts these newer artists to you? Like, why do you think they're coming to you versus any other producer in Seattle, or even outsource into like an LA?
Yeah. I think man, it's hard to like answer that without it sounding selfish or something. Like, well, I'm the best because it's really not that. Like a lot of times, like I play it pretty patient with stuff. I don't like pressure artists of like, we need to do this, we need to work, we need blah blah blah. Like I want people to find whoever fits them the best. You know, I might not be the right fit for everyone. In fact, I'm not. Like, I'll sit down and make exactly what I think it should be, but like if it doesn't fit, if me and the artist aren't like vibing, like that's totally fine. And that happens, and that's something that like early on feels really intense, because it's like, when am I gonna find my friend, like my this person that like is the person I want to grow with or whatever, you know. It's like any relationship, You know, you find a girlfriend, you find a boyfriend, whatever. It's like, it's not just guaranteed to work instantly, and it's okay if it fucking doesn't. So going into these like Zoom sessions and stuff with artists from all over, like I was able to see that and try and kind of change my mindset from it being like a bad thing of like, oh fuck, like I wasn't the perfect fit for this artist, or this artist wasn't the perfect fit for me, like something's wrong. Like, no, dude, it's fucking speed dating out there when
but
it
you
comes
used to probably have more emotions towards it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as a you kind of you learn through time, and which it's a process and it depends on the day, but like you learn through time to kind of like detach yourself from ideas once they're done.
Yeah.
You know, like if I'm making an idea, something that I've made sure I do every time if I'm done with an idea is decide on how I feel about it. Because the second I bring it to someone else, it brings another opinion into the pot, and if I haven't decided what I think about it, that opinion most likely will become my opinion. Right. So if I show you this song and I'm insecure about it and I don't really know how I feel, I'm not exactly sure, and you come back to me and you go, it just wasn't really it. It's 100% gonna not be it in my head. Right? Or if you tell me, oh my God, that was amazing, I'm like, okay, it was amazing. That's what it is. Like, but creating that that definition yourself, like before, I think is really important when it comes
like
to
confidence.
Yeah. It's confidence is a huge thing, man. It's a huge thing in this industry, but it's like the right amount of it.
Yeah.
You know, because like I've never been the type of guy where I'm like so confident. I'm like walking into rooms with my dick swinging. I'm like, I'm the fucking best here, motherfucker. Like, blah blah, fuck, I'll beat battle you right. I'm not that guy. I'm just not. I in fact, like I've done one beat battle and I like, it was really fun, but I did not like it because it was like this weird competition in like this environment where like we're all making really cool shit and it like literally all sounds different. So like, let's just appreciate it for that. But yeah, I don't know. That's a fucking tangent.
No, it's just wild to me, like how much time everything does take. You know,
like, it can. Yeah.
Like I feel like everyone wants success like right away. But you do have to set kind of like milestones and feel happy with those versus being like, I'm already Joe Rogan, I'm already Drake.
100%, dude. And I think that's one of the scary things that this like TikTok thing is doing, is it's like, you know, even though it happens sporadically, few and far between, it's like if you're a 15-year-old kid and you like write a song that like you think's pretty cool and it's like on a YouTube beat or whatever, you post that shit on TikTok, like you could be, I'm putting quotes for a reason, air quotes for anybody just listening, famous overnight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's like this false sense of security that these kids are getting if they don't actually create a real fan base, you know?
Yeah.
And like that stuff happens over time. Like a lot of artists don't see the work that goes that has already been put in when an artist finally pops off. It's like, oh, so and so is like just starting right now. Like they're just getting big. That's amazing. Like, but all the interesting shit to me is like all the shit before. Like how the fuck did they get there? Like what are the stressful situations that like ended up in like right place, right time? Like those are the things I give a shit about, you know? And a lot of people just look at that kind of fame point and move on. But if you don't have like those years or I'm not saying you need years to like before blowing up to like make it work, but it's scary to me to think about being like my 15-year-old self and popping off then without having the knowledge I do today.
I agree with that 100%.
It's weird, but it's, you know, you kind of weigh it out and it works out for some people in both ways, in both directions.
It's just weird because like on TikTok, I get sent like articles on my phone at this point because I have the app, you know, and it'll just be like articles about, oh, this person posted a TikTok thing that went viral. And it's just about like exposing their work or some shit like that. But then they think they're like famous now.
Yeah. And those numbers can be like really confusing when you have like, oh my God, I have 100,000 followers. There's 100,000 people listening to me. No.
Or like T-Pain's become like an influencer at this point, which is pretty cool.
Really cool.
But like he like posted a video like a month or so ago about like how much a stream actually is worth. And people are like, oh shit. But I'm like, if you're an artist, you already know it's worth jack shit.
Yeah. And like, I mean, I guess it's positive. It's a positive thing to let people know that. I actually had a conversation with my little cousin about that the other day. I was like, just talking about, like, we were just in the kitchen, and I was talking about streaming services, because that's kind of like all he really knows is streaming services. And we were just talking about like sales, and I think it came up like what was the most sales in the first week, and he brought up some recent project. It was like the Gunna project or something, like 130,000 copies or something in the first week. And he was like, oh, that's dope. And I was like, yeah, bro, but like back when people were buying shit, like Adele, her was it 21 album or something like that, that shit had like 3.6 or 3 point, I don't know, like 3 point something million first week sales.
Or and even looking like the Kanye and 50 Cent battle.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's so many of these examples to show like how much this whole like streaming thing has impacted artists. And I was telling him, I'm like, yeah, but that's not just like a dollar. Like these artists are getting paid, a good chunk of change per album sale. Like if we're talking about CDs or vinyl or like physical or iTunes downloads. Like I used to buy albums for like when they came out, and I asked him, I was like, would you ever even think about like, oh, Gunna dropped an album, I'm gonna go buy it? And he was like, whoa, like nah. Like that's the issue, man. But you go stream the project as many times as you would if you bought it, right? And instead of putting $10 in an artist's pocket or whatever, depending on the cuts, obviously it's different, but instead of putting $10 in the artist's pocket, you're putting 0.004 cents per listen. Like it's just fucking weird to me.
And it's weird because like even if you buy like a digital album, did you know you actually don't own that album?
Yeah, because I mean it's a digital, and that's why I've gone back to fucking buying vinyls.
Yeah.
I've got a vinyl player, and I was just like, this is fun. Like I like reading the footnote. I like reading who's playing the horns and shit. Yeah. Like that's what interests me. But that is part of the scary thing with this whole kind of world of like watching, consuming constantly is like it's not many people are sitting down and like digging into an album.
Yeah.
And that, I guess, the album talk is always something to talk about in today's world, but it's kind of scary to me to think that people aren't consuming albums like in the way an album should be consumed,
Yeah.
But I like that they started getting rid of like the shuffle button on albums and Spotify.
They did?
That? Yeah, for Adele dropped her new album, I believe, and she was like, no shuffle button on my album, motherfucker.
Whoa.
Yeah. So.
Damn.
That was tight.
So how do you find these artists like an Anna Thompson? Do they come to you, or is it like in the middle?
That was an interesting one, Anna, actually, because I got that was like I was like really, really, really trying to plant my feet in the pop thing, and I'd already been doing a good amount of pop shit. I had played all the festivals and stuff with St. Clair. Like I built this whole pop project around with him and whatnot, and so I'd been in the pop thing for a minute. But like I remember I got followed by like Anna Thompson fan page or something. And I was like, what the hell? I was like, oh, who is this chick? Like, she's probably super famous. Like, she's got a great voice, whatever. Then I, like, went to her page, and it was like, follows you. And I was like, what?
Ooh.
Already follows me. That's what's up. So I think I actually hit her up, and I was like, yo, you're really tight. Like, we should link. Sorry, Anna, if I'm, like, wrong or something. She'll fucking wring my neck if I'm wrong. But, no, I'm pretty sure that was that. And then we linked up, and... she's had a ton of experience in the industry before too. Like at a very young age, we related on that too. And yeah, that was just it all happens differently, man. It all happens differently. I do remember though, her first session, it was really funny. I was finishing up a session with Vinny, and I was like, "Yo, I have this new girl coming over, Anna. Like, just when she gets here, whatever. Like, just we'll finish up." She got here while he was like in the vocal booth, and like I didn't tell him. And I thought he, like, got out of the booth and, like, went to the back. He stayed in the booth for, like, 45 minutes just sitting there while, like, Anna and I first met and we're talking in the studio. I felt so fucking bad. He holds it, over my head.
Dude, I've done that before. When I was on my tour, I had Nacho, Picasso, and Kineyada on.
My dog.
And these guys, like, I forgot that I had booked an interview, like, right after them.
Mm-hmm.
And because Nacho came late, like, I kind of forgot about, like, the timing on everything.
Jesse came late? Are you kidding me? Wow.
And the interview ended up being like 2 hours, and the guys had walked in. I didn't even like think about it. I was like, I waved to them too, and they're just waiting for like an hour.
Yeah, bro. But like, I don't know. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Fucking the interview's going over. How was that interview?
Oh shit! I thought it was cool because they have like a cult following, so their cult following, like for both of them, know who they are deeply, but they don't really have much press out. So,
I know, man. I mean, fuck, man. Nacho's always been like.
Is his name Jesse?
Did I just expose it? Nacho?
He doesn't even look like
Nacho
Jesse.
Picasso. Well, we go way back, bro. We're like my dad used to change his diapers, bro. Like babysit him and shit.
Oh wow.
Yeah, way back in the day.
That's wild.
He likes to say that my dad taught his mom how to fight, so that was cool. Yeah.
But it's a weird thing because like I treated it similar to like a first interview, and I personally didn't know about like Kenyatta being part of Raider Clan because there's not much press on that.
Yeah.
So like there's people who like really appreciated it, but then there was like diehard fans who are like, this guy obviously wasn't outside in like 2010. I'm like, yeah, I was 10 years old. How am I supposed to know this shit about that?
Oh my god.
But those are cool interviews when there's actually like when that's so cool when people have like a cult following.
Yeah, man. No, it's sick. I mean, and I hope that like continues. You know, I see artists that are building things like that too, and it's just really cool.
Yeah.
To watch a whole bunch of like kids resonate with what one person's saying, and you know, as long as they're leading them in generally in the right direction, at least. Yeah.
So what are your goals for 2022? You know?
Oh man, my goals. Well, Dempsey and I are finishing up a few different projects right now, so
Very nice.
We're excited to get that out. Definitely, totally different flavor. Kind of trying our hand at the. I don't even know if I can talk about that project yet, so maybe I'll stop on that front. But yeah, we're finishing up a few different projects, but new music this year, like a ton. That's gonna be great. I'm excited to get that out. Big goal for this year is getting Vinny off the ground, man. I'm really excited to
No more Vrilla.
No, man, I'm really excited to start showing the world like who this kid is, because I've been getting to know him for years now, you know, and I grew up with his brother, his older brother Ryan, and him and I work together and are good friends in the industry and whatnot, and I give a shit about this kid like a lot, man. I love that kid, and I'm excited for the world to be able to kind of to see why, you know, like it's a big goal this year is getting that kid off the ground, and so we're excited to release a ton of music too. So yeah, that's really exciting, and on top of that, I mean, there's a whole bunch of different artists I could go on and list that I'm like working with right now that are doing really interesting different stuff. I'm working with this girl J Maya, based in LA, and she's phenomenal writer. Just writes like she's insanely smart. Like I it's like I'm going to school every time I have a session with her. She's awesome. I'm building this project for Kate Ebersau right now, and she's this artist out in New York, and
oh shit, that's dope.
Yeah, just some of the most like artistic shit that I've done in a minute. So I'm like, I'm in this cool, weird, experimental place right now where I'm just like making whatever music it is that, you know, that comes my way, and on top of that, just writing as much as I can, you know, writing a ton of demos. So I'm excited to start branching out. Hopefully land a few records. That'd be great. Knock on wood. That'd be awesome. On top of that, man, I think the thing I take most pride in though is like the artists that I'm developing and from the ground up. So excited to get them off the ground.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Where do you see the Seattle music scene going in the next few years?
I think COVID has kind of fucking changed a lot. Like it's show wise, like we're such an environment. It's like, I feel like the Seattle scene thrives when it's like we're in person and listening to people and being able to kind of like hear the new music outside of just YouTube and whatever. So I'm really hoping this shit kind of starts to allow the music industry to get back to what it was doing here, you know, and we have the new Crocodile now, and there's a lot of like cool new energy. So it's weird. I feel like we've been on this like kind of a pause, but everybody's been working and doing their thing. But I'm excited to like, I want to go see all these people, and like I'm so excited about other new artists in Seattle. Like I've never been more excited to just like listen to new people, and so I'm excited to kind of see what's out there. It's weird under the COVID thing. Like I haven't been able to go see who's opening for so and so. Yeah. You know, because that's where I have a lot of fun. It's like I want to go early. I want to see like who's the opener for this person.
Yeah.
you know, and that's how I kind of get to see who's doing shit around here and stuff. But a lot of that, like I said, it revolves around that live music thing, and that's just the fucking hard world right now.
It's been pushed back like 2 months. A lot of shows have been pushed back to March,
Yeah.
but there's like nothing. There's no news about February, so I wonder if the government or something sees something happening towards February where they're going to push it back after, like they're just using it as a placeholder.
I have no clue, man.
Yeah.
I mean, like my manager,
I didn't even know you had a man. So producers have managers, huh?
I have two. Yeah, actually.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, man. I mean, well, hey, man, it's a cutthroat world out there, and I'm serious. Having anybody that has your back on your team is that's inevitably important. You know, it's just, I could do it all alone. I could, but would I want to? And no. And the opinions of those that I have in my corner are opinions that I value a ton. So, that's why I have them on my team. But they're also my brothers. So not like my blood brothers, but I count them as that. So
hell yeah. And what's it like being married now?
Man,
how long's it been? It's been like a year now or no?
No, August. We got married in August.
Shit.
So it's like pretty fresh, man.
Pretty fresh.
Yeah, no, it's honestly, it's like we've been together for almost 8 years already. So it wasn't like, I didn't really expect a ton to change or anything after the whole marriage thing. But honestly, it did, a lot did change, but more of like internally, more of like just the way I process things and I think, and I think that it just kind of brought this extra feeling of responsibility on my plate of, you know, we've been together for fucking 7-8 years, but it's like, this is like, I have to keep her safe, you know, it really just, it put a lot of things into perspective, and I don't know, man, love hurts, but love is always worth it. That's what I'll say, man. It's fucking crazy shit. So
very beautiful.
Yeah, man.
Well, man, what is some final advice you have for up-and-coming artists, creators, influencers?
My piece of advice for up-and-coming artists and creators is to always save enough money to invite somebody to a cup of coffee. Because I think that's where I learned the most, was reaching out to people and saying like, hey, I would love to pick your brain. I'd love to talk. I'd love to hear your story, you know, and I used to do that as a kid, you know. It got me in rooms with all kinds of people, and trust me, like seriously, having the confidence to be able to say like, hey, I want to take you out to a cup of coffee if that's like cool with you, says a lot to people who are like doing shit, you know. And I'll typically always do that if somebody reaches out to me, because I love hearing other people's stories as well. It's like, just because I'm doing shit doesn't make anybody else's story any less significant or relevant, you know. And you never know who the fuck you're gonna meet, and you never know what little piece of advice you're gonna get that you know, clicks something in your brain. So.
And this is Seattle. I think everyone drinks coffee here, right?
Yeah, man. I'm trying to cut down on my caffeine. I've been drinking some decaf and some half calf recently.
Oh, shit.
I know.
I forgot decaf even existed.
Decaf does indeed exist.
And half calf?
Half calf does indeed exist. You can also you can order a split shot.
Uh-huh.
And that's like, you know, if you're getting a latte, you can have like one shot has caffeine, one doesn't, you know, balance it out a little bit. So.
Interesting. I just started drinking coffee during the pandemic.
Oh, I'm a coffee. Ooh, that's my shit. I bought an espresso machine at the beginning of quarantine. That was the best purchase I think I made the whole time. So
very nice.
Yeah, man.
Well, what's the easiest way for up and coming artists and people to reach out to you?
Yeah, you can hit me on Instagram at I am Jake Crocker, Crocker like Betty. And or hit me on my email, jake@jcrockermusic.com. Whatever's clever. I'm always down for a good conversation and always down to listen to what people are cooking up. So
hell yeah.
Yeah.
It's the NAST podcast with
Jake Crocker.
And we did it.